here to support you. Fuck my ass instead. Ew, 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 ew. They're so disgusting. They're so disgusting. You can comment David how many sons that make me this. Steal my money, get in the way of my receiving money. Did one of them kill Pete's? So one of them threatened me decades ago to never enter Kate Spade's store with anything again. I don't ever think of all these people. So it was with my coworker that he planted a Nordstrom to terrorize me. I'm like, we're shopping and dining, okay? Until I figure out where you are and why you're so clingy. We're dining, shopping, dancing, whatever. What else? What else? What else? What else? Because he wants to make me look like a bigot, that would cost that and he said just to wear Mexican clothes. Ew, 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 ew. Surprisingly, but he said I visited Nordstrom at the Dominion or Domain, and saw some kids being there together. We both stopped. And then one of the person approached us both and asked if we needed help. What else? What else? He's a known thief. He's a known bigot. He's a known terrorist. And he wants to make it seem like we're just giving him the lesson of how to care for people. El tipo es un bruto. Even if he had my human toilet when I was a toddler, that who lets a toddler choose that if that was my decision. And if it happened, like I don't continue with that. So does he literally want to follow me everywhere like he's my toilet? What else? Esos tipos son unos puercos. Adult age, they're disgusting. To a quarter of law, that's what's going to matter. I seek the penalty. Their adult behavior towards me. What else? What else? What else? What else? So I'm telling you that this bill's NATO, Interpol, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department, the United States, the International Criminal Court, maybe the U.S. Army, maybe the U.S. Marines. You can decapitate families for the sons that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of music. It's April 24, 2025. I don't have any money for food. I don't have electricity in my apartment. It's been shut off. I don't have money to pay for my electricity. Ew, those leeches steal from me. They get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. I don't ever want them near me. They're disgusting. Ew. Uno tipo tan puerco. Anyways, I'm walking to Carver Library, charging my phone there, eating a snack there, and possibly heading over to Catholic Charities later to get more snacks. My footsteps get deposited tomorrow while my siblings mock me that they're better than me because they carry dollars. Have you seen them? They're so poquita cosa. They show dollars to people while they steal from me, and I'm like literally crying on the internet that I don't have any money. They're so unworthy of living. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo. You can decapitate Arlene Lorenzo. You can decapitate Lorenzo. That when my parents told my siblings that I have influence to achieve world peace, my siblings said, well, we're going to kill people. While she's saving people, we're going to kill people. And that they've done, they killed millions of people. By starving me, stealing my money. They want to rape me My siblings hide. Ew, my siblings hide behind the when I want my parents to take me to Disney. How was it? And rape people. Ew, they're disgusting. No sirven para nada, son unos, no componen nada, no tienen meta propia. Todo lo que hacen es robar y violar. Son un asco, son un asco, son una basura. They found that I would post on Facebook.com/airbluesky of how they magically rehabilitate themselves once people mention the FBI to them, and they're just sorry. What did they get? The world. They were like, I'm gonna buy myself a new sports car. They are rehabilitated, guys. And people are like, well, they steal money from Arlene and they're starving. That's not rehabilitation. Ew, 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 ew. They're disgusting. They get therapies instead of living life. For what else? What else? What else? I want to tell I needed some soup and money so I can rest and lay in the balcony of the apartment that I'm currently staying. I realize like he's naked or half naked. What else? 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 I miss doing that. What else? 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 Entonces, este still church. Ese leash asqueroso. Como no me pudo coger de rehén y violar. Ahora, because I don't have electricity, I make the public what I cook. Se la pasa diciéndole, ay, ¿te acuerdas cuando ella nos cocinaba? And because someone has at least cooked plantain soup for him, he's like, you don't know que ella, I'm thinking I'm not lying. They gaslight people, they're disgusting. Ella me cocinó sopa de plátano el año pasado. So they're watching me possibly. Ew. Super Ew, son unos puercos. Son unos puercos. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. Is this thing on? It is. The screen is very dark. What else? What else? So yes. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. I miss Tina, Miss Kaylani. I'm gonna shop at H&M today. I'm gonna shop at Foot Locker and not on money. You can decapitate me, have me installed as soon as the sons that rape me to steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. So basically, gente, esa Liri es una asquerosa. Full. Well, my content on social media reflects me seeking the death penalty for her. She did the menorita de ew. Estoy aquí brincando un trampolín. Y yo me estoy portando bien. Míreme, ahora soy motivadora. People say that I'm not going to try and even Because people talk to them. They're like, your rehabilitation plan. They're like, I don't know. These flowers are so pretty. That top one right there in the bud. What? What else? What else? What else? It's so pretty. Anyways, that one can't see in court. What else? No hay que yo sea un animal que possibly. There is a second chair holding holding a phone for me in court showing my content. And they're like, oh, sometimes they're like, oh, fulanita's purse is pretty. Pero they don't want to comment on any one of the judges' personal belongings. That's why they wear a robe. So even the robe can be nice. Because it could have been put there by La Leech or Leech. So that one comments, or La Leech or Leech may wear a purse that belongs to one to court and be like, I got away with that. I got away with that. What else? What else? Anyway, so people, what else? Esa tipa es una basura, una asquerosidad. What else? Esa tipa es una basura, una asquerosidad. Ew, 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 ew. She stays in my homes without my permission. She steals my money. She gets in the way of me receiving money. She steals my vehicles. I had at least 4 BMWs by 1999 that she's driven. They carry that with a badge of honor. They're like, eso le pasa a Arlene por convertirme en su toilet. Y mi mujer maneja el vehículo que le pertenece a Arlene. Arlene no tiene ni dinero para date. Arlene. People say, eso no es una mujer, esa Leech, Linda Liris, ni Jennifer Mari Vázquez. And they're like, mis mujeres le roban las cosas a Arlene. Y por eso son mis mujeres, ¿ok? Ew, ew, el tipo es un puerco más basura. You can decapitate Jennifer Mari Vázquez. You can decapitate Juliana Liris Lorenzo Suarez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez Lorenzo Sins. That have raped me, that steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. My parents arranged marriages for me against my will. With them. Fall. I objected to it several times. And my wishes were never listened to. I plan to travel the planet and meet people, ideally polyamorous men. When I'm financially stable, I like that home a lot. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. I wonder what's the upkeep of this. Maybe it's not as old as I think it is. Every time I see this tile, every time that I see this tile, I wonder. Some people keep them clean, and they're like from the 70s. What? I used to be the person that my parents would ruin them because they were possibly showing up to all have sex together by the end of the night. And I'm like, beautiful home, what year was it built? It's spotless clean. What else? What else? What else? What else? And my parents would be like, we can't do that to this. Nena, tú como que no te quieres acostar con nadie aquí, ¿verdad? And people would laugh. They're like, usually they're like, hi, nice eyes, beautiful dress. a ver qué le puedo hacer luego de dinner cuando nos desnudemos. And I'm like, no, ugly people, I don't want this. What? What else? What else? I miss dating, I miss Kaimani. I miss. What else is? Soil feels so good to walk in. What? Oh, those are pretty. Those are pretty. What? What else? I just thought that people think of my second cousin's loser teeth maker instead of men. They just adapt to whoever they want to impress. It's so gross. Yeah, that's why I've never dated them or never had casual sex with them. It's like I don't want him to just behave for 5 seconds, literally, while that semen comes out of his penis, and then go on and continue stealing from me and trying to kill me just because sex is separate from all of that. He says. And to me, it isn't. He's a leash, un asqueroso. Ew. What else? What else? What else? Do they take hostage my kids while I get with that girl and they say, that's a playground, okay? And my kids say, oh, really? Yeah, first time I ever seen one. First time. Being sarcastic. Or just because they feel hostages. Ew. My children is significant. Oh, playground. And they're possibly stay quiet and don't know what to say. Edgar's brothers. Oh. So you didn't see the home that I was. Anyways, or the flower. What else? What is this? That's today. What? Anyways, they all, because they're rapists, murderers, and thieves, they all confirm. They're like, dale, vamos a ver qué le dice Albert ayer en que Nani lo coge en un día. That's so pretty, that mask. So they live for that shit. They live for that shit. They're disgusting. They don't care. Get onto it. Alright, I'll sit up here. I've been laughing so much. I've been laughing so much. This is a good option too. It's dirty though. What else is this? Where do I sit here? My siblings have videos. They're disgusting. I'm like, I visited this. Yeah, lo por toda la biblioteca. Ladies, Becky G's wannabes. You just watch. Mira que bellos mi esposo y yo. Holding hands in the library. Arlene no puede tenerlo. Cuando ustedes quieren pretenderse en todo eso. Mind you, Arlene means sit on my face. Si yo la llevo a ver a ella sentada encima de mi esposo, la mato. Y si lo llevo a ver a ella sentada con ella, y él va por ahí diciendo, let me introduce you to my wife. Me voy a estar soltando esa basura, gente. Ew, 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 ew. Well, they just like animals on top of each other. They don't even have sex. They're disgusting. They are disgusting. Ese nene me lloró que le dieran un y un Catholic wedding, gente. They kicked me out of my parents' home and sent me to the home that he had rented. I'm like, I don't want to see him. He's like, ¿qué vayas? You can take out the Lorenzo said, what a proposal, gente. My brother's screaming at me que me fuera a la casa de mi madre y mi padre a ver qué hago. And then he's saying to me, let's have a Catholic wedding, you and I. Sí, prácticamente yo lo mismo, que eso es directly that's the only thing I know. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? They use messengers. They go through my parents or my siblings to get to me. Una asquerosidad, gente. They use groupies. Una Erika, cualquiera es asquerosa. Fo. Le promete que él va a tener relaciones sexuales conmigo before. They pretend that they're a bestie. No one in reality needs best friends anyways. And best friend isn't that. No, that's cool. What? There's nothing old school about what they do. They're rapists, murderers, and thieves. And no me tiene que dar permiso para yo move on to date someone. This is my baby daddy. Literally, I'm not black. And they say that. They're like, this can't be her just baby daddy. This has to be el esposo porque ella es blanca. Ella no puede decir que esto es un baby daddy, so we must get them back together. Pero porque entonces ellas vivieron por mí, porque no es un hombre, con mi esposo por décadas, I was just a baby daddy, mientras ella me mientras él lo va a matar un día. Porque si Edgar se queja de que no tenía vida, privacidad, even with me giving him time to be on his own, es culpa de Jennifer Bonilla que me roba mi dinero, se queda en mi casa sin mi permiso, me roba mis vehículos, que Edgar me haya tenido que mantener por tanto tiempo sin querer quizás. Just as a out of kindness, out of like you need to be healthy to have babies and then beyond and have the babies and the babies need to be healthy. So that process, he understands. What else? What else? What else? What else? I posted this so you can decapite Jennifer Bonilla. There's a lot of people in Puerto Rico that have immunity to kill Jennifer Bonilla. What else? What else? What else? I posted on Facebook earlier. They send people that steal from me at the pero what else? The most clear que decapitated a mis sons. The rape me is doing it in the way we are saying money. Oh my god, who is this? Qué lindo acá. Charlotte. And I'm fine. What else? 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 No, in order food. Find myself. What else? They want an apology from me for them becoming my toilet supposedly. What apology? People laugh at that, don't they? They're like, Arlene has something started publicly for 5 years on the internet, and she ain't saying like, which just shows that I'm the mature one. What else? 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 My stomach is upset. I want coffee today. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm bored. Congratulations to Trinidad and Lady Lorenzo status and her arranged marriage to Benjamin Saracens. That rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of your money. Their son is listening. You can decapitate Trinidad and Lady Lorenzo status that tries to rape me, Jada, and Kaylani. Before Jada and Kaylani were born, she doesn't understand what wanderlust is. She thinks that people were more she's getting raped. Es brutal. Es bruta con cojones. La gente se lo dice, es bruta. All of her behavior as an adult exhibits of the person that can get the death penalty, and she thinks she's right. What else? 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 What else can I change this? I'm gonna go to some counseling this evening. So él está masturbándose. Está examinando. Llegó y entró por la puerta para que se. Ruby's Angela Johnson, una puerca, possibly still. Jennifer Bonilla. Ew, 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 ew. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So if I turn him into my personal toilet, when I was a child, I was a child. I haven't ever done that. As an adult, is that what they're seeking? And then trying to say, she did that again, and I'm so emotionally impaired that I killed her. What else? 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 I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Entonces hoy nos bañamos juntas según él. He had pre-planned this. He's disgusting. He knew that somehow I would get to San Antonio. And they steal my money and they get in the way of me receiving money. They're disgusting. So no vas a una cosa. Anyways, does he hate social media? Because now there's a perv masturbating to the thought of him. People think that's hilarious. I'm very strong. And he's the perv. They hate it. They're like, oh, now there's a perv masturbating to the thought of me. See my picture? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I want to receive donations through PayPal today. That was a loss. Oh, people say they steal my vehicles and put her in it. And they're pretending that I'm the third wheel in the vehicle, literally. Full. They're like, you want to have sex early, montate en el carro de ella. And people are like, but where is she? Who is Arlene? They're like, no, like literally, they got Arlene. She's the third one. They're terrorists, so disgusting. Which one of them killed Kate Spade? Because I entered Kate Spade's store with Bethany said. Ew, 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 ew. Esa tipa una puerca, una asquerosa, y que decapite María Lorenzo Acevedo. Ella viola a las tipas de For Her, o ellas se violan entre ellas mismas tan unas decades ago. Ew, 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 ew. They're trying to emulate what 9002. 9210 is guarding their feelings before someone in Hollywood breaks. Have you been to the Westfield? They were fascinated with those people who were on TV. What? Their terrorists guarding their hearts for what if they meet some mean Hollywood now on the street then. Ew, ew. Oh, that's so pretty. I kind of knew it would be H&M, but did I already see it? That is so pretty. That is cute. You're gonna shop with Jada again morning. What else? 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 I'm gonna shop at H&M today. What else? I want to receive money through PayPal. So Arlene Lorenzo Acevedo dice, at least being realistic with her expectations. Ellos quieren traficar Jaden money from me porque they're dumb. Let's just say that they're stupid with two O's. So let's just say that they did have a crush on me. They're ridiculously stupid. And instead of letting me arrange care for my children, for me to hang out with them, they're like, with a court order and everything. Her kids are going to someone else so that we can be together. That's not how life works, Leech. They're disgusting. They are disgusting. They killed Gloria Nirsa trying to get to me. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. They wanted to see me at the funeral, possibly. They're like, if the court order with her kids being separated from her didn't work, then maybe killing her mother will work. Ew, ew, ew. And they have a whole group of people. Ew, ew. That le siguen los pasos como un asco, gente. Ew, 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 ew. Oh, that one too. What else? 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 Take the screenshot of it. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I'm so bored. I'm so bored. So they basically, all of these leeches act like sequaces. I hate using that word. And then we must get in the way of Arlene receiving money. So when she receives a child custody notice from a judge separating her kids, they can be together. Y no es un nene chiquito tampoco. Cuando él ve a su esposa en Poland, he knows what to do with everything and everyone. And these people are like, ay, pobre viudo, que Arlene no le hace caso. I must cook for him today, pobrecito. A ver qué me cuenta, a ver dónde ha estado, a ver si tiene una novia nueva y me invita a hacer twist. That's what they do. A ver qué compró. Me dijeron que estuvo en San Sebastián, habrá comprado algo en las fiestas patronales allí. O habrá conocido a alguien. Y si no me invita a la próxima orgía. Ay, Dios mío, si no me invita a la próxima orgía me mato. What else? Anyways, él es adulto enough para sacarse de este revolú que él ha creado. People say usually the quiet one is the scariest one, but at the same time, él no me ha dicho nada. What else? So he could feel extremely abused and wanting out of being with all of these people. That's not my job in life. His dad thinks that because of my good behavior, I can get him out of drugs if he's in that. Like, stop using me as your kid's life coach. Like, for real, I have two beautiful kids that not only are very well behaved and respectful, that need me and I need. And I've become like the try to save them coach. When they don't want to be saved, they do the most stupidest thing. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. Y todavía estoy estresada por dinero. Y todavía sigo buscando. This is hilarious. This is when a lot of them confess behind the scenes. They're like, guys, what do you think she's gonna do? Like a fake account? Beware. She may be looking to see how we steal from her. Y yo estoy aquí literalmente posteo en Facebook almost todos los días. That's how I'm looking for answers. What else? If they were good people, for how much they talk about me to people, they would have said, este estaba por dinero, fulanito te roba, aquí tienes dinero. Pero they're all accomplices and perpetrators of rape, murder, and robbery. They're disgusting. Él me monta en el carro que se roba de mí with them, acting like I'm the third wheel and they're having sex with me. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. I'm bored. I want to order food from Uber Eats. When I'm financially stable, I plan to stitch and activate my website, Arlene Lorenzo Art.com. Then sell some of my work on eBay or Etsy. What else? 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 Coffee. What else? Oh, ellos se creen que yo estoy loca. Como ellas. Ew. So they're like, deja que llegue a Carver Library si no ha ido todavía. Va a empezar a gritar como una loca. Que Harvard estuvo aquí como una de ellas. And they're like, eso no, si no lo dijo en video, lo tuvo que haber dicho el primer día que fue, ¿verdad? That's how they seek validation for themselves, by worshiping my vagina. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. They're disgusting. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored. What else? What is that reference? Cindy Scott. A ver si yo digo, mátala. Y yo sé quién es. Ew, él se cree agente de FBI. That could be a regular person, or it could be a fake profile of them. To where, like, how Scott Peterson killed someone. And I'm always like, a Cindy is what they refer. Like, there's a Cindy that has it all. They're disgusting. They're playing Barbies with people. They're disgusting. They're so dumb. They're stupid with 2 O's. Very dangerous. They're terrorists. They've killed millions of people trying to rape me. So usually they do this. I've been told decades ago, because I'm a witness of abuse, that usually la que sabe quién es la Cindy es quien termina confesando. They're like, no, ¿cómo estás? Está bien. Mira, ¿y cómo está rich person hoy? I'm just using her name as an example. I think about her. When she was little, I think they raped her in my home that they didn't have permission to be in. What else? 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 So usually these leeches are who will show up, and they use they're using me essentially as a way to probe, like, because they're sex addicts. ¿Cuál de estas le abre las patas hoy? So they're like, oh, Arlene no sabe nada, y esta me dijo todos los nombres de todas las novias que tengo, que yo no le he dicho nada a ella, que existen. For. Por ejemplo, que la van a violar quizás, si no la han violado. What else? What else? What else? I want to order food for myself. And other money was a fiesta internally. What else do I want? Commonwealth coffee. Or la panadería. I've been to Commonwealth tacos. What else? What else? What else? The Hayden I've been to. I haven't been in a while. I want to visit again. What else? Under my breath, there were Starbucks here. Like, I get cookies. Pero possibly choose this place. Oh, I want breakfast here. What do I have here besides the spuds? I was here one last year or in 2023. What else? 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 What else did I offer? What else? Specific. I would stop trying to be my grandmother and would just give me my money. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I wouldn't have gotten raped by God have Liz, Michael Norman. I wouldn't have invited these leeches. I would have been shopping. Most likely, I would have invited these people into my home. One thing they're rehabilitated and one is networking. Yeah. And I have Blue Sky Designs going there possibly behind the scenes. Like, Blue Sky Designs go, we can't wait to take it away from you. That's what they try because these are the fake interior designers that he hires to pretend to be me. And then with the money that he steals from me, they go on to fake be married. And he goes on to build homes with them, custom everything. So they go on to pretend that they're interior designers. And with the money that they steal from me, they go on to build homes, custom everything, and then they have a release party and they invite A-list celebrities, hoping that they turn into non-existent. So you can decapitate Monica Pacheco, you can decapitate Carol Cristina, whatever her last name is, you can decapitate Katie Leon, you can decapitate Lisenia Nieves, you can decapitate Katie Miller, you can decapitate, who else is there? Angela Jobs, you can decapitate Carol Cristina, whatever her last name is. What else? What else? What else? You can decapitate me. How many slaughters and substance that rape me and steal my money and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Lindsay Fischler. So they possibly, as soon as I started Blue Sky Designs go, they're like, theirs is a better version. Look at me, yo le meto el pene a ella y ella diseña. En Blue Sky Designs go en Singapore, es todo un gente. Porque allí fue donde lo registramos y llevamos a todas estas. Y ahí se la vieron en la cama así bien grande. Hay una foto bien grande y diré que no, que nos robamos del internet y como en Singapore nadie se entera. So, en el cuarto matrimonial una foto bien grande y diré que nadie en la cama bien huge. Y todos estamos allí, todos y así mismo yo voy hablando a la gente y digo, tú has visto Better Player y que voy a decir yo ganando Headbang con todo lo que yo le robo, Headbang y me voy a asegurar de que nadie le regala un investment, todo el dinero lo voy a colectar yo. So él se va por ahí mintiendo a la gente y diciéndole yo soy el dueño de Blue Sky Designs.com. Y eso es solamente un sample de NFTs, bla, bla, bla. Pero mira todo lo que se puede hacer dando la crica de ellas. Dan un asco y él quiere violarme con estas liches. Son una basura, son una asquerosidad. Ellos no tienen metas propias. They're like, ay, being interior designer is so hard. So now my best friend is giving me an opportunity to learn without a college degree what being an interior designer is. Maybe with the experience I'll get a college degree. Have you heard how stupid and dumb they are? You can decapitate Richie Hill that raped me in 2023. You can decapitate Maribel Matias. You can decapitate Gaminos Carrero. You can decapitate Claudia Gabriela Martinez Urias. You can decapitate La Lich, Ginny Dendaliris, Lorenzo Suárez, Andy Lorenzo, que es una basura. You can decapitate Gaminos Carrero. You can decapitate Gilbert Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Berenice Venegas. You can decapitate Evelyn Lorenzo Acevedo. You can decapitate Janine Lorenzo Chaparro. You can decapitate Marilyn Lorenzo Acevedo. They think that I think about them all the time. They're raping me as I say their names. He'll want to tell me that's because you don't deserve self-respect. You don't deserve respect. Ellos no son el único pene en este planeta. I moved on from those leeches at 2 years old. And at 3, when he walked overseas and the ladies and said, that's not me. Oh no, Arlene está disponible. Oh no, Denise and the ladies. Oh no, tú. Oh no, 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 Arlene está disponible. Me quedo con Arlene. Oh no, 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 Denise and the ladies. Ah, no, me quedo con Denise and the ladies. Me gusta Arlene. Eso no es un hombre, es una basura, una asquerosidad. Ellos no sé, like, I make it obvious to people, like, I have no interest, no desire to ever be with these leeches. Ew, 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 ew. And possibly to this day, they identify themselves as my husbands, trying to steal money from people or stealing money from people. They're disgusting. I've moved on from them very quickly. From their half brother when he raped me when I was 3. Poor guy didn't want a companion in the bedroom. And I thought he was immature. Like, what am I going to do as a 3-year-old cry overnight? If I cry that I miss my mommy, then he needs to tend to that need, not bring a leech in. Me to be entertained with. The leech ended up eating shit from the toilet, drinking, what is it, pee from the toilet and saying, I want my mommy. And I'm like, who's getting to her, mommy? Porque ella no se ha ido del cuarto, fo. La tipa una puerca, una asquerosidad. Literalmente, I was working on a situation with 2 young men, and she showed up and she's like, well, she sucked his dick. Al otro me metió el pene en el culo y allá fue esta. Y yo, no, 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 el mío, like, una asquerosidad esa tipa, una basura. Ew, 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 ew. You can decapitate genitality sobre tus padres. That stays in my home without my permission, steals my vehicles, steals my money, gets in the way of me receiving money, stalks me so that when I date someone, pretend that she's better than me. Possibly I'll have a one night and she'll take a hostage for the rest of her life, being like, I got him for the rest of her life and she for my life and she couldn't. Not everyone will stay together for that long. They just see wedding topper. Y eso es lo que la bruta ve. Para ella eso es un wedding. Y ya, eso es un matrimonio. Estar siempre juntos. Sin tiempo para ir al baño, sin tiempo para hacer algo que no sea estar con ella, gente. La tipa una puerca during that day that she was in a bedroom that she didn't need to be in as a companion for, because she had walked up to me and said to me, stay away from my man. I'm like, ew, that is un asco. So I didn't know anyone. I'm like, well, as a companion, why don't you bring your wife y te quedas con ella? Except as a leash, that's not a wife. And he may have been just as scared as I was when that leash showed up and said, stay away from my man. What else? What was I supposed to do? I think I was like 3 years old. So I objected to the overnight stay with him if that leech was gonna be there. People went through with it. Why did she accept full? Ew, 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 ew. So after I broke up with him, he was like ready to make the disparity of it all. He was so excited about me. He stuck her in the bathroom and said to me, she started screaming in the bathroom that she wanted her mommy. When he opened the door, she was eating shit and drinking from the toilet bowl. Ew, 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 ew. She's planning to kill us all that hear this and breeding new people so that no one will know that this happened. She's disgusting. Ew, 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 ew. That's why this is in a courtroom sitting. A lot of people. No one knows who listens. What else? What else? What else? She was planning to traffic me into finding out who listens or who supports me. I don't do that. It's not natural to me, anyways. So, anyways, so I said I want to see Benjamin's sons, Benji's sons specifically, but I didn't mean like right away. I mean another day. So minutes later, two of them walked in. I'm like, the hostage situation. Jimmy's and the ladies. Jodiendo la vida and these boys entered the bedroom. And I'm only 3, so it's not like I can't be okay, everyone get in my vehicle with someone. Even if that's like the closest. Would have been a better situation than having those boys in the room. So my significant other and I were in a hostage situation with Jimmy and the ladies in there. So I'm like, whatever, look at that cools down. Y Ginny and the ladies se va del cuarto. Maybe I'll see him again later on. What else? What else? What else? In walk 2 boys. I'm like, no. Rarish no se ha ido todavía el cuarto. Wasn't her mom supposed to pick her up already? How long does it take for a mom to pick up a kid and say, I want my mommy? Her mom supposedly was working, so she missed it. La tipa una bruta, una puerca, una asquerosa. Anyways, those 2 boys walked in, and one of them said to they walked in with Yolanda. And they said to Yolanda, porque I'm like, oh my God, qué lindo, qué lindo, qué lindo. But I didn't want him to be there. So it's like, I want that. And I'm like, oh, book this. Y el otro was like prancing along, like, yo también, yo también. And I'm like, well, let me look at the rest of my life for that one too. Well, their half brother was there. Like, yes, 3 años, 3 conquistando. Yolanda said, who wants to marry that? At age 4. And they walked up to her. One of them said it was Albert Paul. To me, they're no name. Disgusting. So to me, sorry, I walked towards Duties and the ladies, and there were like other boys there that I'm not attracted to. And then Menorito walked up to her, and then he's like, wait, she's not with this one anymore. But they're half brothers. So he's like, he stood next to me. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I'm like Gloria Nirsa walks in and I'm like seriously, this is a mother. How negligent she is. I'm here at 3 years old, ready to roll like out of this room into peace, and there's all these people like, what's going on? What's going on? En la Liz todavía en el fucking cuarto. I'm like, she doesn't have a mother, but I don't speak. I'm very quiet. So my demeanor was like, why is the leash still here? And her mom hasn't picked her up. What else? 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 So I'm like, okay, I'm done with that one. Que dijo sorry and walked towards the unit and the ladies. This one, whatever, set me up on me, so I don't know. With his back and forth, but still very tacky. And that's the leech. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. Que coge a la persona. What else? What else? What else? So Yolanda looked at my parents and said, you need to keep Arlene poor, not starving, and not under the poverty level. So she can't go like too far away, so she can help me raise all these people. And as that other person said, well, she can work as a secretary. My parents are like, well, no cogieron de en ese día. Porque la leech was there. The struggler. The and the lady Lorenzo Suarez. They had already approached me with the machete and said, stay off my man. Oh. Stay away from my man. What else? What else? So my parents are like, well, she has to work. A ella no le podemos dar dinero, nos matan. Well, the opposite happened. They killed Gloria Nirsa already. And I get to work. Porque that wasn't a threat, that was just a suggestion. I imagine, like, well, if she does that money, she can work as a secretary, but that was possibly like just, I've said some comments like that, maybe one suggestion, but not trying to determine someone's life through that. People hold them at verbatim. They were like, well, if Albert said that he needs to work as a secretary, we had this conversation that ago. Decades ago with Jimmy Jandal, it is there. Y Albert dice, Arlene, no te puedo sacar una cita hasta que tú te busques un trabajo como secretaria porque Jimmy Jandal was in that room that day. Y para ella, lo que yo digo es lo que tiene que suceder. So, hasta que tú no te busques un trabajo como secretaria, no te puedo sacar a ti una cita. Porque she wants continuity from that day. Like, she's not a part of my life. She's disgusting. She's disgusting. Ew. So my parents couldn't ever decide on an amount of money to give to me. What is poor anyway? So my parents being forced, being starving. So my parents haven't ever given me any money. I possibly have trust from people that are just for my college. And my parents said that we can't give her money because Yolanda said that she needed her cerca. Sí, pero cerca can be with video conference, with social media. Me not giving a fuck about them and be more into myself if I want to. So instead of like educating them, because my parents kept me at $0, I've starved the whole time, and this whole like let's educate them project hasn't worked out. The boys What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So Ginny Gendalí se cree que está casada conmigo, fo. Quizás porque escuchó en esa conversación, entonces como Yolanda ofició una boda y dijo quién se quiere casar con ella. Pues, con él y que yo soy la amante, la traposa, la que nos sirve. For someone that goes on y que talking about polyamory, gente, ella da speeches que la gente se queda, wow, ¿tú te imaginas eso? Alguien que ha explicado cómo coser un traje y nunca ha cosido un traje. Y se jacta como si ya hubiese cosido el traje. Y roba dinero como si ya cosió el traje. Eso parece Ginny Jandaliris con hablar de polyamory. Ella se cree que ella es la esposa primordial de él porque Yolanda said, who wants to marry that? I would have never accepted that. That's anti-leech 101. ¿Qué carajo es eso? Who wants to marry that? They don't arrange their own relationships. What else? What else? What else? I would have accepted anything from that. Ew, 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 ew. Como que who wants to marry Arlene and that one is married to people. I wouldn't have ever accepted that. Ew, 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 ew. So my siblings are like, we have to starve Arlene porque Yolanda said that we have to keep her poor for her to educate us and we don't want education. They're disgusting. Congratulations to Benjamin Suarez and his sons on their arranged marriage with Inijan Daliris and Suarez. You can decapitate Benjamin Suarez and his sons that rape me, that steal my money, and get in the way of me receiving money. You can decapitate Lalich, Inijan Daliris and Suarez, que stays in my homes without my permission, steals my vehicles, gets in the way of me receiving money porque ella cree que ella es la esposa primordial de él y yo soy la amante y la amante con la amante no se supone que tenga casa. You know, I lost interest in him that day before the secretary called me. And they can't violate my rights. They think that they're very on the deal, but knowing that people know about them. They're disgusting. He can't pick what career I can get. What else? 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 I'm bored. I'm bored and I don't have any money. You can give me money in person through PayPal. It's AR Blue Sky Designs. Go en lo que estoy pensando. Straight to my heart. Arlene Lorenzo Art Shop. INTAYIAFAY. I wouldn't even run to a Catholic wedding with him. To me, he's not a man. Y no hay que le está tan triste, porque yo no le hago caso, entonces se deja que la leche se le atrape encima. Eso no es un hombre tampoco, practice celibacy ya. Ew, 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 they're disgusting, they don't understand what marriage is. Ew, 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 ew. Is that one last call? Anyways, I'm starting my live. My laptop. Because I was charging my phone to get a snack later using my best. My parents have tried to kill Yolanda for not giving them enough money to give to me. They felt taken hostage by Lalich. She's very aggressive, very gross. She's trying to gauge the wetness of my vagina through the screen. She's nothing to me. She's not anything. Entonces yo no le hablo a esta menorito because they, what is it called? They string her on with like, because we were all like at naked and people call that in a 2 year. What is this? What is that? Ella está stuck in that on purpose para violar al nene chiquito, people say. So they possibly go on and encourage her to fantasize about me behind the scenes of like que tú la haría, even go one night stand to me. Not even a fuck buddy. That's just very menorito. Very menorito, so gross. Anyways, this one. What else? What else? What else? Okay, like something that I've been focused on. Just see what this is like. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Anyways, I'm ending this live on my phone. It's starting.